All right, folks, everyone who loves minor league baseball is going to love this segment. Patrick McVerry is president and general manager of the Somerset Patriots. Good to see you, Patrick.
Hey, thank you for having me. A pleasure to be here.
All right, let me get this straight. The Somerset Patriots, based where?
We're in Bridgewater, New Jersey, Somerset County.
And the stadium is called?
It's TD Bank Ballpark. We're right off 287, exit 13, which is really a great location. It's kind of a throughway throughout New Jersey.
Do you happen to be connected to my favorite Major League Baseball team based in the Bronx, New York?
Yes, in fact, we are. As of this past November, they made a big announcement that the Yankees,
They being?
The Yankees,
Just
made
checking.
an announcement that they chose the Somerset Patriots right here in Bridgewater as their AA affiliate for the next 10 years, at least for the next 10 years. So
tell everybody what that means. Patrick, sorry for interrupting. Tell everyone why that's such a big deal.
Yeah, so we, our team organization started in 1998 as an independent team, the Atlantic League, a league that Steve Kalafer and Frank Bolton founded. So we had a really good track record with 6 championships and we're widely successful. But the Yankees came a calling here. They wanted to kind of look at a new facility for their prospects. They asked us to do some upgrades. It is they call it PDL, a player development license with the Patriots for 10 years. And we look to renew that for many more years after.
Yeah. By the way, you mentioned Steve Kalafer, and it's so interesting. Way back, I don't know the year, but Steve, the late Steve Kalafer, who we lost recently, just an amazing guy. He connected us to the Patriots back in the day. And one of the first interviews I did, believe it or not, was in the locker room there with Sparky Lyle. Right? First, let's talk about Steve, and then we'll talk about Sparky. Talk about Steve Kalafer and his legacy.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of working for him since 1998. Other than Sparky Lyle, I'm the longest tenured employee, but it was an absolute pleasure working for him. He was the smartest person I've ever met. He was always 2 steps ahead of everybody, but he was kind, giving, and obviously a very ultra successful businessman. And I think you would encapsulate all those things, and that's why he was successful. But he didn't take that for granted, and he loved people. I think that's one of the things that you would find talking to anybody in this community or outside the community is how much they considered Steve a friend. And I also consider him a very dear friend.
Special guy on so many levels. Hey, Sparky Lyle, formerly a great relief pitcher for the New York Yankees, comes over to the Patriots as a manager, right? Now, what role does he have with the Patriots?
Yeah, so Sparky was hired back in '98. The story's been told many times, but he went to buy a car from Steve, a truck, Ford 150 and F-150, and Steve offered him a job for a team that didn't exist. So that tells you what kind of salesperson Steve was. So he sold Sparky the manager position for a team that didn't exist yet, in a league that didn't exist yet. So he was the greatest hire that the Patriots ever had, because right off the bat, he was a name that people knew in this area, being this is Yankee country. And he really was the perfect manager to have, because he was a people person, he signed autographs, and he knew what he was doing. With as he had retired from being a manager, he had 5 championships. He moved into a role what we call a manager emeritus, which he's still at every game, here to take pictures and sign autographs and talk to fans, and something that he was born to do. And also, of course, closing games for the Yankees.
A real character, too. Hey, listen, can we talk about community involvement, particularly on the education side, economic development as well? There's an educational component to the Patriots. Talk about it.
Yeah, and listen, we're very involved with the community. I go back to Steve. It's one of the things that he always wanted us to make the community come first in what we did. And I can remember way back in the early years, he wanted to make sure we had as many people on the field before every game as possible. So one of the programs we've actually had for a long time is honoring our teachers, the Teachers of the Year here at the ballpark. And we team up with the New Jersey Education Association and our local Somerset County Education Association. and a few other counties locally. And we honor the teachers on the field with a certificate, tickets for the game, a meal. And it's a great night. Unfortunately, with COVID this year, it kind of got pushed to a more online virtual, but nevertheless, it will still be very special.
Yeah. Patrick, let me ask you, as we tape this program on the 20th of March, baseball, I mean, I don't miss a Yankee game. Haven't been there in person, but don't miss it on the air. And with you guys being there is so much of it, the experience of minor league baseball game. How challenging has COVID been to staying in the game? I'm sorry for the corny expression, but literally staying in the game, surviving it.
Well, yeah, listen, it's something that every business has been dealing with. Obviously, we're no different. We're a 6,000 seat venue. Last year we didn't have a season. Well, we did have a season, I should say. We played 13 games. We created
no fans.
We had 500 fans, because that was the gathering limit. And so we had about 81 events. But as Steve said at the time, we pretty much lost money on each of those events because it just cost that much money to run the facility and pay people and all that stuff. But he was happy to do that, to go back to the community, because he wanted to be there for the community. But to answer your question on minor league baseball and baseball in general, COVID took us to a beating to us, because most teams didn't have an opportunity to open the ballpark at all. So we're regrouping right now. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. As ballparks are starting to fill up, and I foresee this being a very successful summer.
Let me ask you this, Patrick. Minor league baseball has there's a history to it. Actually, going all the way back in the day, before any one of the producers who are on our team right now, and the great production operation we had, back in the day, I did a special on the Newark Bears, the 1937 Newark Bears, talk about connected to the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
And the role of minor league baseball. Minor league baseball is a huge part of American culture, is it not?
Huge. I mean, it is America's pastime. You hear that over and over. But there's nothing like it. It is by far my favorite sport for a lot of reasons. It is a true spectator sport, because you come out here and the game is not a fast-paced game as opposed to some of these other sports where they're slamming, the game's action is constant, where baseball is a traditional, laid-back kind of, I always look at it, every game is like a book. It's going to change. There's going to be a storyline at the end of the day. It's just an amazing sport, and we can get local communities, these kids involved with baseball. They think these guys playing are they're heroes, and they treat them as such. So it's such a vital part of each of these communities throughout the country.
That is Patrick McVerry, President and General Manager of the Somerset Patriots. They are very much affiliated with the Bronx Bombers, New York Yankees, and many of the players who are with the Patriots over time, they wind up with the Yankees playing in the Bronx. Hey, listen, Patrick, wish you and your team and the family at the Patriots all the best. And once again, Steve Kalafer, he's missed, made a huge difference. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You got it. I'm Steve Adubato. That's Patrick McVerry. Go Patriots and go Yankees. We'll see you next time.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by TD Bank, RWJ Barnabas Health, NJM Insurance Group, the New Jersey Education Association, Summit Health, New Jersey Sharing Network, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, United Airlines, and by Suez North America. Promotional support provided by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and by ROINJ.
NJM Insurance Company has been serving New Jersey policyholders for more than 100 years. But just who are NJM's policyholders? They're the men and women who teach our children, the public sector employees who maintain our infrastructure, the workers who craft our manufactured goods, and New Jersey's next generation of leaders, the people who make our state a great place to call home. NJM, we've got New Jersey covered.